Ready? Ready.
What's up, guys? It's Pickin' with HuddleGG, and welcome back to another episode of Ask Huddle. If you guys are new here, this is a series that we do each week. We answer your guys' questions. So if you have a question you'd like answered in a future video, wherever you're watching this, just make sure you leave that in the comment section below. We'll do our very best to get to it. You can also join our free Discord by going to HuddleGG/Discord, and you can ask us questions in there. Also, let's dive into this week's episode. And this week, we're going to talk about run blocking. Last week's episode was about pass blocking and understanding everything you needed to know about that. And we had a few people ask us if we could do run blocking next. So we are going to be doing that here tonight. And we're going to be talking about a few different things when it comes to run blocking. But the first thing we want to talk about is what we did with pass blocking as well. It's going to be the visuals on the screen and what we're seeing and what it's telling us. Okay, so if we came out in a pass play here, right, and we push left bumper, you can see that we are going to get these lines coming from the offensive lineman. And we talked about last week, this is telling us who the offensive line is going to block. Okay, and depending on what type of protection we set, it would change where these lines are going and who's blocking who. When we come out in a run play, we do not get the luxury of seeing who is blocking who in the run game. College football does have the ability to, I believe it's left trigger and then moving the right stick to the left will show you your run blocking with the coaching cam. We do not have that in Madden. So again, when it comes to the visuals with running the ball, you will not see lines going from linemen to specific players. We're going to need to understand that certain concepts are going to block specific ways. And we also want to pay attention to a few things that we do have on the screen. And the most important is going to be those flame icons, as you can see there on the right side of the screen. The flame icon, the same as it was in pass blocking, is telling us that that player is not going to be blocked. Okay, now you see there is an M icon over the right of screen middle linebacker. That is identifying who the mic is. That kind of matters, it kind of doesn't. We'll get to that a little bit later in the video. But the main thing that matters when we're looking at the visuals is understanding, again, where those flame icons are. So right now we are in inside zone here in this formation. And if we look at this, you're going to see that, again, that guy off the right edge is not going to be blocked. And you can see the flame icons if you're looking at the normal play art, or if you pull up your pass protection menu as well. So you can do it either way. But if we look at that, again, that guy off the right edge is not going to be blocked. So we need to know we can't turn right back into him, right? So if we said hike here, we wouldn't want to go right back into him because we know that guy off the side is unblocked. Now we have an ability on Mike Vick right now. Obviously, he's able to break that tackle. But you need to understand that if you see that guy with the flame icon, you need to work your way away from him, okay? So what that's showing us is every single time we run this rep, that player is not going to be targeted by anybody. Okay, you see there, once again, he's not targeted, and then that would allow us to obviously run our inside zone as we would. And yeah, just make sure you understand that the guys with the flame icons above their head are going to be unblocked. As you can see here, they are not going to block this guy here. Now, we can change that. We're going to talk about that later in this video. We can change who is untargeted, and we can untarget specific players if we feel like it works with that running scheme better for us. But when you're just looking at the play, the big thing that you need to understand is, again, identify those flame icons. Sometimes there'll be more than one, but if there is one or two or however many there are, make sure you realize that that specific player is not going to be blocked, and you now need to run the ball away from that person. Since we can't actually see the visual of who's going to block who in the game, it's really important that you understand two things when running the football. The first is going to be the actual concept or the style of run that you are using. And then the second is going to be the front or the alignment of the defense. So first things first, we need to understand what type of run we're using and how that's going to block. Right, so you're going to have two main types of runs in the game. You're going to have zone scheme and you're going to have gap scheme. Okay, so your zone scheme is going to be things like inside zone, outside zone, stretch, things like that. Obviously, if it says zone in the name, it's most likely going to be a zone run scheme here. And then you're going to have gap scheme, which is going to be more of your power runs. So base, halfback power, ISO, things like that are going to be more gap scheme. Now, they do block differently, and each of those have their own nuances as well. But let's just look at a couple here real quick in the shotgun formation. We're going to come out in inside zone here. Okay. Now, the one thing to understand with inside zone, I'm just going to move this tight end out of the way just to get him out of the picture. If you're running inside zone, what you're going to see is the general blocking you're going to get is the center and the guard are going to double team the player in the A gap. Okay. Now, whether that's to the left or to the right depends on the alignment of the defense. Okay, so you can see here with the alignment of the defense we currently have, the center and the guard are going to double team the left of screen defensive tackle because he is who is in the A gap. Now, something that has changed this year, which was not in years past, is on the back side, so the right side of the screen here, your guard and your tackle are actually going to double down to the D tackle who's in the B gap and work their way to the second level. And again, they're going to typically leave that backside edge defender free, as you can see with that flame icon above his head. So if we go to say hike here, you're going to see that we're going to get the double teams that we mentioned, and then they're going to work their way to the second level. Okay, so if we look at the replay here real quick, you're going to see that the center and the guard are going to double team the D tackle who's in the A gap, as they do here to the left side of the screen. And in the backside here, you see the D tackle is in the B gap. We're going to get the guard and the tackle to double team him. And then again, they're going to work their way up to those secondary defenders, the middle linebackers, and we're leaving this backside edge defender free. Now, if we just simply shift our defensive line, so I'm not coming out in any different defensive play. We're still in cover 2, just like we were in the last play. But this time, let's shift our line to the left. Okay, if we do that, we now have the right of screen D tackles in the A gap and the left of screen D tackles in the B gap. So now what you're going to see is instead of the center and the left guard double teaming, you're now going to get the center and the right guard. Okay, so if we go to run this, you're going to see that the blocking is entirely different simply because of how the defensive line is aligned. So if we say hike here, you're going to see that we now get a different type of blocking there, and they're still going to work their way up and get the double teams. But if we look at the replay here real quick, you're going to see that, again, last rep, we saw the center and the left guard doubling. This time, we're going to see the center and the right guard doubling because that's the D tackle who's in the A gap. And then where the B gap D tackle is, we're going to get the tackle and the guard double teaming there. And you can see that they're then going to work their way up to that second level and get the linebackers. And we just have to read that accordingly and make the run. Now, if you would go to something like halfback power, okay, halfback power is going to be different. So halfback power is going to naturally double team a player in the B gap, and then they're going to get a left or pulling guard from the opposite side, pulling and then blocking the extra defender to that side of the field. So here you can see our left guard is pulling from left to right. That means the right of screen, we're going to get the right guard and the right tackle to double team down on the D tackle. And as you'll see here, they're going to double team down, and then they're going to again, work their way up to the second level. You're going to see our pulling guard's going to get the edge defender in this situation. Again, since we have it aligned like this, these two guys have to get the B gap defender, as they do. Okay, our guard is going to pull and get the next defender over here, as you can see there. Now, if we would have that tight end in the picture, then the guard is going to be able to work his way up to the second level. He's not going to have to block the edge defender because we now have a tight end on the line, but you're still going to see that same double team from the right guard and the right tackle. Okay, and then you're going to see the pulling guard get up there and get that linebacker, and obviously it gives us a little bit of a hole to make something happen and get a big run down the field. So obviously we're not going to go through every single run concept here in this video. There are tons of different ones, and obviously there's a bunch of different fronts that you may face, but understanding the type of run that you're using is really important to understanding how they're going to block based off of how the alignment of the defense is. Okay, so again, here you can see they're going to double team the guy in the B gap, and then they're going to have the pulling guard. He's just going to get that extra defender, and that gives us that hole that we need to get that big run here using halfback power. But as you can see before, inside zone is going to be a completely different blocking scheme. Before we get into exactly what adjustments we can make in the run game, if you join our Discord and type in !best run, you'll get access to a bonus video of one of my favorite runs in the game and how I like to use it. Just go to HuddleGG/Discord and type in !best run. Now, back to the video. Now we're going to talk about what options we actually have when it comes to adjusting our offensive line. Okay, so we hear a lot of people tell us all the time, I'm sliding my line, I'm IDing that guy, I'm double teaming that guy. I'm going to be completely honest with you, none of that really does anything in the run game. At the end of this video, we'll talk about how we can utilize sliding our line in one specific run concept, but in general, it's doing nothing for you. Okay, so I'm going to prove it here. If we come out an inside zone against this look here, we talked about a little bit ago how they are going to double team with the center and the left guard on the A gap D tackle, and then typically we're going to get a double team on the B gap defender with the right guard and the right tackle. So you can see here, obviously we have that backside defensive end, have the flame icon above his head. He's going to be the free defender. Now, if we go to say hike, you're going to see they're going to block exactly how I just mentioned, work their way up to the second level. If we look at the replay real quick, I just want to show you exactly how they're doing this so we can show that they're not going to change if we adjust what we're doing, right? So here you're going to see just running this stock, we're going to get the double team with the center and the left guard, and we get the double team with the right guard and the right tackle. Backside edge coming in free. They're going to work their way up to the second level. Now, let's say that I want to double team the left of screen edge player, right? Let's say I want to double team this player over here. You can see I'm allowed to put my double team mechanic on him. I'm going to push A, so it'll show that he is double teamed. If we look at the actual play art, you're going to see that he's still double teamed. What you're going to see and what you're going to notice is he's not actually going to get double teamed. Okay, they're not going to change the way that they block because I adjusted what I was doing there. So if I say high care, you're going to see he's still getting blocked one-on-one. Okay, so whether I double team a player on the left, on the right, it does not matter. It's completely based off the type of run I'm using and the alignment of the defense. So you can see here, I double teamed this player right here. We are not going to get 2 people blocking him. Okay, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to change anything. Another way to prove here, if we look at the backside defensive end, right, he's the flame icon. Let's say that I ID him. Let's say that I want the mic to be on that player, right? So you can see here, I put it over him. I'm going to push A and select that as the mic. You're going to see they're still going to leave him. Okay, they're still going to block the same way they were before. They're going to make their way to double team those guys in the A and the B gap, as you can see here. Then they're going to work their way up to the second level. But again, this backside guy is not being blocked now that I decided to ID the mic on that player. Let's say that we full slide our line to the right. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to see it's still the same exact blocking concept here. As you can see, we still get the same double teams. We still have the backside defensive end coming in free. Let's say I full slide to the left and I double team this player over here. And let's even ID the mic over here as well. Okay, so get our whole line moving to the left, right? You're going to see nothing's going to change. The left guard and the center are still going to double team that A-gap defender. They're still going to work their way up to the double team, or to the second level, I'm sorry. But you're going to see that this player here, whether we half slide, full slide towards him, double team him, ID, it does not matter. The run concept is going to determine how they're going to block. Now, what can we change? Okay, so what we can change when it comes to just your traditional runs, right? Any run in the game for the most part is you can untarget specific players, and that will change what's going on at times. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, let's say we bring up the untarget defender, and let's say that we want to untarget this middle linebacker now. Okay, so obviously on the stock play, it's this backside defensive end. Let's say that we want to untarget this middle linebacker for some reason. Okay, what you're going to see now is the backside defensive end is no longer untargeted. Okay, so we didn't ID anybody, we didn't slide our line, we didn't do anything like that. We did untarget a different defender, and that will shift how the line is going to block. So what I'm going to expect here is I'm going to expect the right guard to get the D tackle. The right tackle now is going to get the defensive end on the right side of the screen. We're going to get the same blocking to the left. So here you can see we got that exact thing, right? We got the same double team to the left. We get them working their way up to the second level. But on the backside now, we were able to change how they were blocking because of us untargeting a player, right? So here you can see we untargeted the middle linebacker, which now tells the this guy we're not going to double down anymore. We're going to look over here and get this edge player because we don't have to worry about working our way up to get this block. Okay, so you can change how the blocking is done by untargeting specific players, and that will change the assignments of specific players on the field. Now, I mentioned earlier in this video, there is one concept in the game that we can utilize the pass protection with when it comes to sliding our line, double teaming, even IDing the mic, and that's going to be the halfback draw. But first, I want to come out here in inside zone. I want you to look at the offensive line's blocking. They're going to be moving forward on those little gray lines. This is showing us that it's going to be a run block for those linemen. Now, if we audible to halfback draw, you're going to see that those lines now change and they're dropping back into pass protection. Now, if we pull up our pass protection menu, I want you to see what it's titled. It's called a pass protection menu. So you are able to change the line when they are pass protecting. And with a halfback draw, they are doing just that. So if we want to half slide our line to the right, you're going to see that we're now going to be able to half slide that line to the right, even though we're running the ball using draw. Let's say that we want to half slide to the left. You can see that's going to change now to a half slide to the left. And again, you can see that with those light blue lines. Now let's say that we want to full slide. You're going to see that we can full slide our line to the right here. And let's say that we want to full slide the line to the left. You can do just that as well. What I want you to see is when we are full sliding, half sliding, all of that, the flame icons are changing based off of what we are doing with our line. Now, if we go back to the normal play here and we just go to halfback draw and have our normal blocking, we can also double team players. Okay, so if we just run draw as is, right? I want you to see what they're going to do. If we just ran draw like that and we go look at the replay, you're going to see how they blocked. Okay, so if we look at the replay here real quick, you're going to see that they don't really double team anyone. These guys are dropping straight back essentially, and then they're going to work their way up once the ball is handed off. But you can see 76 is just dropping straight back. He's never really looking over here to help double team on the left side. Now, let's say that we want to double team that left side. So let's say we go to halfback draw, and let's say we double team the left end here. What you're going to see is 76 is now going to go out there and look to double team. Now, he's not always going to actually engage in the double team. That's going to be based off of the angle of the pass rush. As you can see here, that guy's rushing to the outside, so he doesn't need to actually block this player. But you can see, obviously, his movements are completely different now that we've double teamed that player. He's looking to engage on that double team and help out over there to that side. Okay, so obviously double team here is going to change how things are working. Now, if we want to ID the mic, so let's say that we come out like this, and you can see the middle linebacker has a flame icon above his head. Now, I do want to preface this. I do not recommend IDing the mic when it comes to running the draw. I like sliding my line, and I like double team players at times, but you're going to see if I ID the mic here on this middle linebacker, it's now going to make the defensive tackle a flame icon, right? So it's going to at times really change the way that things are happening, and it's going to put players that you don't want the flame icon to be on for it to be on them. Again, I would not recommend that, because then we're just going to give that guy a free run. Now, that time we were able to obviously get out of it a little bit, but we are just putting ourselves in a vulnerable position we don't need to put ourselves in because of the way that they are going to block that. Because you see the center here is targeting different because we ID'd that middle linebacker. He's really going after him even though he doesn't need to. So when it comes to running these draws, I don't recommend using the ID the mic. I would rather just keep it stock if you were looking to ID. Now, if you are looking to half side or double team, that is something that you can do at times, and it's not a bad thing. So here you can see, obviously, the line is more shifted to the right side. So if we wanted to do a half side to the right, that's not a bad thing to do, because you're going to now get good blocking, and you're going to obviously set yourself up for the most success. Now, it's not always going to work. Running the football is not always going to be big gains down the field, but you're going to have more consistent runs if you start to shift that line towards the strength of the defense when you're utilizing the halfback draw concept. If you guys like this video and want to get even better at Madden, make sure to join our free Discord by going to HuddleGG/Discord.